Hey guys, it's your Sir Kevin again. And for today in our accounting tutorial, we will be talking about business combinations. This time it is consolidated financial statements subsequent to date of acquisition. We will be talking about parents accounting on the investment in subsidiary. I have here an illustration for you. It is about equity model and cost model. So general information po, the parent subsequent to the date of acquisition will account for the investment in his books. Between equity model and cost model, it is the option of the parent kung alin ang gagamitin niya. So, again guys, option ang dalawang to. So, you will have to choose or you will have to determine kung ano ang pinili ni parent. So, let's get into this problem. Requirements sa problem are journal entries 2020, assuming GARP uses equity model. And then, journal entries 2020, assuming GARP uses cost model. Then you have December 31, 2020, what amount of investment in subsidiary will be reported assuming GARP uses equity or cost model. So dalawa ang requirements sa requirement number 3. But let's go first with the first two journal entries. Okay, so GARP acquired 80% of the ordinary shares of Dragon Company for 300,000. Ano ang 300,000 na yan? Hindi sinabi, pero in most cases, kapag naked given, walang description, this should be cash. Okay, 300,000 on January 1, 2020. And if it is not mentioned kung paid na siya o hindi pa, that is already paid. Okay? Assumption, it's cash and it's already paid. On January 1, 2020, GARP nagbayad ng 300,000 to Dragon, to the shareholders of Dragon. At the end of the year, Dragon Company reported net income of 200,000. Okay. Net income ni Dragon, December 31, 2020 is 200,000 and then paid dividends of 150,000. So that is your given for the problem. Let's take equity model. Okay, equity model. Ito po ang rules sa equity model. An investment is going to be debited for its acquisition cost. So kung ano ang na-compute na acquisition cost, i-debit mo yan, investment in subsidiaries. And then credit kung ano ang consideration given. At the end of the year, every year, si GARP, the parent or the investor, will account for its investment in a way like parang ano siya, owner. Remember basic accounting, kapag owner ka, tapos may income, that will be added to your owner's capital, di ba? And then kapag meron ka namang withdrawals, that is considered as a deduction in your owner's equity. Equity method is somewhat like that. In a sense na kapag meron kang ininvest na amount, this is your capital. Okay? Yan ang capital natin. And kapag nag-income ang investment mo, that means kapag nag-income si Dragon, yung net income na yan, we will share a portion of that. This time, since 80% ang binili natin, that means 80% of the net income is also GARP's income. Now, this will be treated as income from subsidiary or investment income. Okay? Ito yung owner na nagkaroon ng income. Tapos naman, when Dragon pays dividends, yung 150,000 na yan, the dividends are treated as drawings or withdrawal of the income na na-earn. This is treated as payment of the income earned. Okay, itong 150 na to. Pero remember again, si GARP po is only an 80% owner of Dragon. So we will only share 80% of that and 80% of this income. Entries for requirement number 1. Unang-una po, you will have to debit investment in subsidiary, 300,000. Credit cash for the acquisition cost to record the acquisition of Dragon shares. Next, nagkaroon ng net income si subsidiary. Okay. That income is simply debited to investment in subsidiary, just like owner's equity kapag nagkakaroon ng net income. And the credit will be income from subsidiary, which is computed as 200,000 multiplied by the controlling interest of 80%. Yung 200,000 na yan, ito yung nireport na net income. Okay? As a result, meron tayong 160,000. Pagkatapos, when it comes to paying dividends, we will treat the dividends as withdrawals, drawings from capital. So, the 150,000 is the total declared dividend, di ba? I-multiply mo yan by 80% kasi 80% lang po ang share natin in Dragon's income and dividends. So, yan po, meron tayong makukuha na amount equal to 120,000. Simple as that. And this amount will be considered a deduction in our investment. Kasi po, as I mentioned earlier, under the equity method, the investment account will be increased by the proportionate share in net income of the subsidiary and decreased by the share in dividends. Dalawa, equity method in essence is accounting for investment on an owner perspective. Okay? In that when profitable ang business, ang investment mo lalago din. Kung malulugi ang business, ang investment mo dapat bababa. Okay? So, TLDR, equity method adds investment income, computed as net income multiplied by controlling interest, and deducts dividends to investment balance. Okay, so that's it for equity method investment accounting in the books of the parent. Take note ha, books ni parent investment accounting. At the date of acquisition, meron kang acquisition cost. Pero paglipas ng how many periods, like for example 1 year, that investment balance will change, and the change is influenced by the net income of the subsidiary and decreased by dividends. So kung magpe-prepare ka ng consolidated financial statement on December 31 of 2020, you will have a few more problems in doing that. Do take note that when you do prepare the consolidated financial statements, all the concepts that you learned in acquisition date consolidation will carry over. So lahat ng acquisition date computations, gagawin mo pa rin yan at subsequent date. Pero meron lang konting additions. We'll talk about that when we get to the topic. But right now, we will proceed to requirement number 2. Okay, requirement number 2. Let me explain muna ano yung cost model. Cost model accounting for investment, it is already described in its title. Just like how equity model is like owner's equity, ano? Cost model naman is yun lang. Whatever is the cost, that is the investment balance. So take note of this. GARP acquired 80% for 300,000, ano? Yan yung cost niya. GARP, ito ang cost mo in acquiring the investment, di ba? Under cost model, whatever the initial balance of the investment is, it remains as is, with a few exceptions. Okay, so if I'm going to journalize for cost model, my consideration is the acquisition. Pagdating sa net income, wala pong pakialam ang cost model kung may net income or net loss. Ang meron lang pakialam si cost model is kung merong na-receive na dividends. Entries natin under cost model on requirement number 2 will be as follows. GARP will record, una, the investment, the same as what we did in equity model. Initial recognition kasi to. Everything that you compute under acquisition cost will be debited to investment in subsidiary. And then, the next entry is simply a receipt of the dividend share. The 150,000 dividend is treated now as dividend income. Kanina, if we will look back on equity method, this is a different accounting kasi sa equity method, ang dividend po is a deduction in your investment. Pero cost model, it is treated as income. Magkaiba ang source ng income ng equity and cost method. Equity, the source of income is the share in net income. Pero sa cost method, ang source ng income is dividends. Okay? So, cross-compare the two. Paano magkakaroon ng difference? Pero do take note, ito yung entry natin sa dividend income. Pero you would notice that nowhere in this accounting do you debit or credit investment in subsidiary aside from initial recognition. Initial recognition lang, net income, di ba may net income si Dragon? Pero wala namang ni-recognize si GARP na anything about that. Ano lang siya, walang pakialam. Pero pag may dividend, of course, that will be recognized as income. So having that in mind, Your key takeaway for this particular topic is equity model and cost model. Sa equity model, plus income minus dividend. Sa cost model naman, the investment balance remains the same. Pero, equity model will recognize share in net income. Cost model will recognize dividend income. Okay? Yang dalawang yan. Remember them because we will be needing them for the next item. Requirement number 3, just to be clear, ito po yung magiging balance ng investment natin under equity model. Add share in net income minus share in dividend, ending balance ng investment. So if you are going to prepare a consolidated balance sheet in December 31, 2020, ito yung magiging presented na investment balance. And do take note na ito yung amount na kailangan mo i-eliminate. Okay, 340 na. Cost model naman, wala kang problema kasi kung ano ang beginning balance ng investment, yun pa rin yung ending balance ng investment. Pero I'll tell you what, actually medyo mas mahirap ang consolidation process kapag cost model ang ginagamit kasi there is an additional step wherein you will need to convert a cost model investment into equity model muna before you can consolidate. Pero again, I am moving away from the topic. We will get there when we get there. Okay? Equity model and cost model. As simple as that. Here is an additional concern about equity and cost model. It is important to determine investment income and dividend income. But why is it important to do so? Investment income and dividend income. Kailangan alam mo ang accounting ni parent kung equity or cost. And kung alam mo na equity method, ang next question dyan is magkano ang investment income sa equity method or income from subsidiary, equity method. And then kung cost model ka naman, magkano yung dividend income under cost model. Now, it is important to determine them because investment income or dividend income from the subsidiary is considered as intragroup income. Intragroup income. Okay. To remind everyone, the parent and the subsidiary are considered as one economic entity, one intragroup entity. And when you say investment income or dividend income from subsidiary, it is actually your subsidiary giving an income to you, the parent. And when we do that, when we think about the parent and subsidiary as one economic entity, that is the same as giving income to yourself. Recognizing income from your own source to your own profit. Okay? So, what's that? You give income to yourself? That particular concept in consolidation sense should be not allowed and it must be eliminated. In the consolidation process, such income from subsidiary must be eliminated because the consolidated net income should only reflect the amount of income earned by the group from external sources. Ang conso net income po ay dapat external sources lang and it should not include intragroup income. Observe the following income statements. Income statement ni parent. Parent po dito is Roger and subsidiary. The subsidiary is Shanks. So, yan. You can see there is a highlighted portion there which is income from subsidiary. Ano to? Kapag income from subsidiary ang ginamit instead of dividend income, that means na ang ginamit ni Roger is equity method. Why? Kasi income from subsidiary is share in net income of Shanks. Income from subsidiary, 153,750. Okay, to give you a background, if I'm going to prepare the consolidated income statement for Roger and Shanks, the consolidation would go this way. Ang conso sales po, itong sales na to, Roger and Shanks, ang gagawin ko lang dyan is parent plus subsidiary. 5 million plus 1.5, that is my conso sales already. If there are no other intercompany transactions, ito na yung conso sales ko. Okay? Conso cost of sales, the same, except when there are other transactions. Everything else down the line, the same. But you will have a problem. Kasi if I am going to recall, itong income from subsidiary, that is actually computed from net income ni subsidiary, di ba? And when I do that, ang net income ni subsidiary, kinuha ko ang share ko and then ni-record ko as part of my income. Tapos yung part of your income na yan, sinama mo in computing your own income. It's like dalawang beses mo ni-record to. Kasi itong 153,750 na to, included na yan dito eh. Tapos in-add mo pa dito, i-add natin to get net income. And do take note when I do sales P plus S, parang ganito ang mangyayari in the end. Net income is P plus S. Itong dalawang to. And when you do that, you will accidentally include 153,750 twice. Because it is already included in 300 and you will be including it again in 903,750. So, there is irregularity there. Which is why, in consolidation, the first thing that you must ensure is to remove this from the parent's income. If I deduct it from the net income of the parent, you will now get what we know as income from own operation of the parent. Okay? TLDR, the amount of dividend income or income from subsidiary is eliminated from the consolidated income statement. So, kailangan mong tanggalin yan from the consolidated income statement. Itong amount na to. Okay? So, yan po. Let's move on to another concern. So here, in this problem, ang tinatanong pa rin sa atin is, what is the income from subsidiary? Okay, income from subsidiary. Here's a hint guys that I will be giving you. Kapag ang problem nagtatanong IFS, ang ibig sabihin po niyan, ang ginamit na method in accounting for the investment is equity method. Kasi dapat ang tinatanong, if you are asking for dividend income, that is equal to cost model. Okay? So just a hint, income from subsidiary, that means equity model to. That means we will have to compute a share in the net income, and to do that, we must analyze the income statement of the subsidiary, whoever that is. Income from subsidiary. So here, Whitebeard acquires 75% of Shanks on January 1, 2020. 75%. On the same date, the following data are taken from the records of Shanks. Inventory, building, and equipment, book values, fair values, and over-under valuation. Do you remember the treatment of over-under valuation in consolidated balance sheet? Inventory, kapag understated, you need to add it. Kasi, just a review, in the consolidated financial statement, the assets are recorded at fair value. Okay? But let's continue reading. The building and equipment had a remaining life of 5 years and 10 years. So si building daw meron pang 5 years, si equipment merong 10 years to go, respectively. The undervalued inventory was sold by December 31, 2020. Itong inventory na to na ibenta during the year 2020. So, for whatever reason na binigay yan, maybe it's useful somewhat. So, let's keep on reading. So, on the next given, financial statement na to, income statement na ni Shanks. Shanks reported the following condensed income statement. Okay, so ito yung income statement ni Shanks. And if you would remember earlier, the way we computed investment income or income from subsidiary is simply net income multiplied by the controlling interest. Isn't that right? Ito po ang computation natin kanina. Okay. Now, there is a reason why the title of this problem is amortization of overvaluation and undervaluation of net assets. Kasi po, when there is overvaluation and undervaluation of net assets, these amounts will affect your income from subsidiary. Okay? So let me explain a little. Just a little. Whitebeard, the parent, accounts for Shanks as an investment. And in that po, ang pagtingin ni Whitebeard, in the point of view of Whitebeard, the investor, Shanks is a group of assets operating for profit. Okay? Shanks is an investment. And when you view Shanks as an investment, si Whitebeard din, ang pagtingin niya sa mga assets ni Shank is ano yung real value. Ano yung totoong makukuha nating value from these assets. That is actually translated to fair value. Okay? So again, Whitebeard will view Shanks as an investment and the assets of Shanks should be at fair value. But here's a conflict. Shanks naman, on his own perspective, Shanks will be preparing everything based on kung ano ang nasa record niya. Like for example, itong financial statement na nakikita mo sa baba, these are based on book values of Shanks assets. Like say for example, may cost of sales siya dito. That cost of sales is computed based on purchases and inventory beginning, inventory end na book value ni Shanks. Itong depreciation na nasa baba of the building and equipment, they are computed based on the book value of the assets of Shanks. So if you would like to have proof, let's take for example this depreciation of building, 240,000. How is that computed? Earlier na-mention po sa problem na merong 5 years net ang ang building natin. So if we are going to compute the depreciation for the building, it would be in the point of view of Shanks, it will be computed as follows. 1,200,000 divide that by 5 years. Assuming there is no residual value, this will be our answer. 240,000 should be the depreciation expense reported by Shanks based on his books, based on book values. So 240, yan po, 240 ang computation niya. This is correct in the point of view of Shanks. However, Whitebeard as an investor does not view Shanks kung ano ang nasa libro niya. Whitebeard looks at Shanks and he sees an investment. And when he sees that investment, he is now looking at kung ano ang real value ng investment na yan. And that is actually pertaining to fair values. So ganito ang gagawin ni Whitebeard. Pag ma-receive niya ang financial statement na to from Shanks, na report na to, he will now adjust this in order for it to conform in his investor's point of view. Investor's point of view meaning ang net income na to, that is not correct in my point of view because that net income is based on book values. Now, let us convert that into fair values. Like for example, itong inventory na yan, 500,000, the true value of the inventory is actually 575. Merong undervaluation na 75. Si Shanks, ginamit niya ang inventory na to. Take note, this is inventory as of January 1, January 1 na inventory. That is beginning inventory. And so, ginamit niya to in computing the cost of sales. 500,000 to compute cost of sales, beginning inventory. Nasama to dito sa cost of sales niya. Pero, in the perspective of Whitebeard, the beginning inventory should be 575 and not 500,000. And what does that mean? Kung 575 sana ang ginamit mo na beginning inventory instead of 500,000, dapat meron pang additional na 75,000 beginning inventory. That is the undervaluation of inventory, di ba? And when you compute cost of sales, ang cost of sales mo dapat 575 beginning plus purchases minus end. Pero ang ginawa ni Shanks, 500 plus purchases minus ending. It resulted to an amount equal to 800,000. In the perspective of Whitebeard, the beginning inventory again is 575. So this cost of sales is kulang. Kailangan padagdagan ng 75,000. Do you get me? In the perspective of Whitebeard, dapat kasi naka-fair value ang beginning inventory. So ngayon, makikita mo ngayon na ang assets under valuation, maaaring magkaroon ng impact in the computation of certain expenses. Like the example I give earlier, yung 1,2 ang ginamit for depreciation. Pero in the perspective of Whitebeard, dapat ang ginagamit na depreciation is 1,350. Ang ginagamit na basis for depreciation is 1,350. And when you do that, ang 1,350 divided by 5 years, ang makukuha po muna ang makukuha po nating depreciation using this figure is equal to 270,000, which if I would compare sa 240, meron pang kulang na 30,000. Yan. So anong kailangan gawin? In the perspective of Whitebeard, kailangan pa madagdagan to ng 30,000. Okay? So, when there is an overvaluation and undervaluation, the problem is the net income might not be suitable for computing income from subsidiary. And if we would consider all of the over and under valuations, ang computation po natin for the net income will look like this. Ang computation po natin for income from subsidiary will look like this. Unang-una, subsidiary net income as reported. And then you have inventory undervaluation. That is deducted. Why? This is actually understatement in cost of sales. So kung understated ang cost of sales, the income is overstated. Tapos meron kang undervaluation ng building na 150,000, ang gagawin mo dyan is kukunin mo lang ano ang amortization of that building. And do take note na ang 150,000 na yan made-depreciate ba by 5 years. So divide lang by 5 years, makukuha mo ang annual na difference in depreciation, which we computed earlier. The recorded depreciation is 2,400, pero the amount of depreciation should be 2,700. So 30,000 ang difference nila. This is understatement of depreciation. And itong equipment naman, overstated ang equipment. That means sobra din ang depreciation. So you're getting a little bit of a trend here. Kapag understated ang asset, it will most probably cause understatement in expense. Pero not all ha, kasi ito understatement of beginning inventory. So yun. Kapag overstated naman ang asset, it will normally cause overstatement in expense. So kung overstated ang expense, understated ang income. So you get the drill. This is on constructive accounting. So yan po. You will have to make adjustments. On the owner's perspective, on Whitebeard's perspective, ang net income dapat ni Shanks na present is equal to 205,000. And if Whitebeard is going to compute his share from that 205,000, i-multiply lang natin yan by the amount of controlling interest. Thereby, we get the income from subsidiary of 153,750. Okay? Recap lang. Okay? So, additional information. The income and expense account balance of Shanks is based on book value of their related assets. However, these book values are not the basis for computing several income and expense amounts in the point of view of the parent as an investor and in the preparation of the consolidated profits. The expenses and income, for that part, should be restated to conform to their fair value basis. TLDR, expenses are computed based on related assets, fair value, not the book value. So, you will have to adjust for over-under valuations. Following the fair value of the assets, for computation of income from subsidiary, and for purposes of consolidation, the expenses are adjusted as follows. So, cost of sales, the cost of sales should be 875. The depreciation, it should be 270 as we have computed earlier. And the depreciation of the equipment should be 50 and not 60. Amortization again is computed as follows. Do take note that you can pause the video anytime if you want to read more of these. Pero I don't think I will be reading them one by one and word for word for all of you. The cost of sales explanation is laid down in here, and the depreciation explanation is also there. Again, pause the video if you would like to read this part. Explanation yan kung bakit added and deducted ang mga amounts. If the assets are overvalued or undervalued, ito kailangan, importante basahin ko. If assets are overvalued or undervalued, their related expense as well are overvalued and undervalued respectively. Overvalued asset, overvalued depreciation, di ba? Undervalued asset, undervalued depreciation. Ganun din. And if we were going to prepare the financial statement of Shanks in a way na conformity to fair value, ganito sana magiging itsura niya. Pero take note ha, there is nothing wrong with the financial statement that Shanks prepared. Kasi that is on the basis of his book values, in his own books. These values are the ones that will be used for consolidation purposes and for the purposes of computing income from subsidiary on an owner's perspective. Adjusted net income of 205,000 is not reflected on the subsidiary's financial statement. Pakinote la ini. I-note mo yan. It is not reflected on the subsidiary's FS. This figure is only for the computation of income from subsidiary on the parent's books. And there is another approach for us to compute income from subsidiary. Nakat lang ng konti. Subsidiary's net income multiplied by controlling interest. And then adjust them for controlling interest share of amortization. Familiar ini nga mga amounts? Familiar ba ang mga amounts na to? Yes. All you have to do is multiply it by 75%. Well, actually, it's the same computation with a different layout. Okay? So, income from subsidiary will be 153,750. So that's it. However, we will have an additional or bonus discussion. Continuing illustration. Remember kanina, acquisition date is January 1, 2020. Tapos nag-prepare ng income from subsidiary for 2020, December. What if we continue the illustration? What if December 31, 2021 na tayo, tapos ang income on that date is 400,000? Question, how much is the income from subsidiary? Well, it is computed as follows. There are only two items here that will affect your net income in order to adjust it to ANI, adjusted net income. And you would notice na dalawa lang ang nandito. Anong nawala? Let me roll back a little. In 2021, the amount of amortization for cost of sales is no longer present. Here. Adjusted for amortization, wala na po ang inventory dyan. Puro depreciation na lang yan. Building and equipment. Reason. January 1, 2020, understated yung inventory, di ba? That understatement affected cost of sales of 2020. Pero, the inventory was sold in 2020, di ba? So in 2021, will it still have an effect? Answer? The understatement in 2020 of beginning inventory will not have any impact on the income of 2021. So, it is not included as amortization here. Ano lang ang nasama sa amortization dito? Building and equipment. Bakit po? Kasi ang building merong 5 years of amortization period. Kasi it is going to be depreciated for 5 years pa. Meron kang understatement in inventory for 5 years na 30,000 each. 5 years times 30,000, that is the total undervaluation. Kasi ang undervaluation na yan will be amortized throughout the life of the equipment. For 5 years pa to. And the 10,000 naman, it is going to continue for 10 years pa. However, for inventory, 1 year lang po ang impact niya kasi naibenta na siya on the year kung kailan may acquisition date. Okay? Inventory will impact your net income when the inventory is sold. And if I would recall, ito yon. The undervalued inventory was sold in 2020. So wala na tong impact in 2021. Here. Wala na siya. Okay? So, adjusted net income computed as follows. Income from subsidiary, 285. So that's basically it. Over and undervaluation has an effect on computation of income from subsidiary. Pero do take note, this is just for equity method. Kung cost method ka, wala ang mga problemang to in computing your dividend income. More explanations? Please pause the video and read up. If you have any questions, you may just comment them down below. And for now, investment accounting for the parent is done. In our next video, we will be talking about consolidated net income, and I hope to see you by then. For now, this is your Sir Kevin O signing off. Thank you for watching and have a great day.